Man, this comic book sucks! And the reviews online said it was good! I wasted my money! Why didn't somebody tell me?
Hey everybody, we're back, our second review of the day, and it's the relaunch of Youngblood. Youngblood seems to keep coming back. It seems it has some history. This is Image's 25 years of publishing. It's a very different company from where it started, but despite all the stuff that the Image creative have gone through, they like having Youngblood as one of their premier titles, and they've brought it back again. So I'm going too far because I've really got a lot of emotion about this, just Youngblood in general. But here's PD, and we also have
Calvin Ellis right here. And I'm going to be taking a back seat to PD on this one.
That's right!
As I don't have the same connection. I read Youngblood years ago when it first came out. I've dabbled in some of the books, and to be quite honest, when I saw this one, I thought it was the return of the Fantastic Four. I was like, oh, they got the back. Okay, I was like, wait a second.
Assessment.
That's not Mr. Fantastic. Oh, I didn't read the title. Oh, I made the mistake. Can I get my money back? I'm sorry. But I looked at the cover, and I was like, okay. And then, you pan through it, and I'm like, all right, we can do this. We can actually sit to review this. This is number one. Everybody likes to hear about the first issue. So what you got to say, Pete?
Well, I mean, this is Image's 25th year. I mean, it's not a stellar history. They did strike out, make their own company. They weren't necessarily the first, but, they did as much as they could as far as, changing the comic industry as far as the printing, this, that, and the other, bringing in a lot of new talent. But then they sort of wasted away a lot of that stuff. But, they've had inner turmoil. Youngblood's been off Image. It's been an Extreme. It's been at Awesome Entertainment. And then now, since they sort of come back together, they still haven't finished Image United, but we got Youngblood back again. Youngblood has had so many relaunches. It's had a relaunch with Kurt Busiek. I don't think that got finished. Had a relaunch. Shooter was supposed to do it. That didn't happen. And then they had a Mark Millar one, which had a zombie, who's that guy? A zombie Martin Luther King Jr. So it's like, this book has been brought back so many times, and it's back again. There's a couple, I think Joe Casey also brought it back. But this one sort of took a Watchmen sort of feel. There's something that happens to one of the characters, and it's Man Up, and it's a weird name for a character, but
more like the whole whodunit murder mystery sort of thing.
But
which Watchmen ostensibly is a murder mystery.
Yeah, so it has that elements, and I did actually like that Vogue, a character who sort of all the Youngblood characters are ciphers. They really didn't have any personality except for Badrock, but Badrock is like a young, happy thing, which kind of is oxymoron. But anyway, this had something going on with Vogue, which was a character that they didn't do anything with, so I was interested in seeing that stuff. So it was kind of cool, the sort of weird thing with Die Hard being president and that sort of stuff. And then they had the Alan Moore characters, which was Suprema, and was it Johnny Quick? I think that's what her name is. Or it could be Jesse Quick. I mean, it's close to the DC characters. So those.
One of the characters' name is actually Jesse Quick?
I think it's Jesse Quick.
Jesse Quick is a DC character.
So then there's a female speedster that's also in the book. So and these are the awesome Youngblood ones, which I actually read with Steve Gross. Those were a lot of fun. And so they had those characters in there. And then you have Shaft, who's always been there. Didn't have the trademark I think you've seen the picture here. There's a little bit of, there's no bow. You don't see the cord on the bow and arrow. That's one of the trademarks of Rob Liefeld. So, it wasn't that bad. It just took a little too much from what's the name, from the Watchmen. It's sort of okay. I don't know that Badrock, a character that's really a copy of all of the other big, strong characters like the Thing, having a lot of fun and taking names. I don't think him being sick is a kind of a good way to go because it just doesn't stick. These characters don't have big problems. I think when Liefeld last did it, the biggest problem was Shaft got fat. It's like they're not strong enough characters to do heavy stuff with. Just have fun and move on. So what was your thoughts of this book?
I was looking for a reason to care, and it didn't really happen by the end of it. it's a trifle at the end of the day. So I'm going through it, and okay, and I'm thinking Fantastic Four because of the cover and the way that it was presented.
Yeah.
The Youngblood that I remember I mean, it was a totally different time for me too, because Image was like the thing that really just popped off out of nowhere. Everybody was reading it. And it wasn't until about 2 or 3 issues in that I realized, hey, I recognize these characters, okay? That's really the Fantastic Four, that's really the Hulk, but it's just like the Image version or the indie version of the whole thing. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. So I go and I'm just looking for a core, something to attach myself to over the course of the story, just not getting it. But it's similar to why I never really stayed with a lot of the Image titles. My longest run was with Spawn, but it's one of the reasons I never stayed with any of those Image titles to begin with. There was
Side
just
note,
very little core to them.
How long did you stick with Spawn?
Oh, Spawn, Spawn, I was really done with the book after the 50th issue. But the collector in me said, I'm going to read up to the 100th issue so I can have a full collection of the first 100 issues. You know, like I always wanted a collection of the first 100 issues of Fantastic Four. But it's, the storyline with Spawn became so cyclical where, you know, he was just moaning about the fact that he was Spawn, he wants his wife, but his best friend. It was just a hard one to get around after the end of the day.
I'll say I don't think I really read. I read the ones with the writers. I think I read the first issue. I read the one with Neil Gaiman. That's the one I liked.
When he was bringing on the guest talent?
Yeah, those ones I read, and I thought they were okay. The issues after that, I think it's from 12 to 15. I read the Grant Morrison one. That was my first. I liked the Grant Morrison one. That was a little bit different. But before that, there's a Tom, the letterer from Marvel, wrote something because he letters all the Spawn stuff. He wrote the issue and had who's that guy? Had Houdini in the story. That was my favorite sort of.
That was actually fun.
Those two were fun. And then I think around 25 is actually a couple of good issues like Spawn fighting the Klan and something like that.
Yeah.
And after that, I was like, I don't think there's anywhere else for this character to go. And I quit after that.
Well, the whole thing was he was supposed to be, you can see this is how entertaining Youngblood was for us, because we're talking about Spawn right now. The whole thing was that the character had, what I liked in the draw was that he had a countdown. Like every time he used his powers, once it got to 0, he's supposed to go to hell. And then I thought, okay, this is going to be this really big battle and this, that, and the other. But they never, it never, like, what is he doing? Is it about redemption for this character? Is he just, damned? What's going on here? And within 100 issues, they still weren't able to answer that question.
Yeah.
The only reason why there's a lot of interest now is because Todd McFarlane, he finished the script. There's going to be a movie.
And he only finished the script because of Deadpool. But getting back to this idea, I'm going to reiterate again, it's a little too much Watchmen, but it's a little fun. If you read the awesome Alan Moore issues, some of those characters are in here. So maybe they'll have a mixture of Liefeld's original characters with some of the characters those characters, besides the Speedster, I think the other characters were already there. There was only one other character that Moore created. So some of those are characters in the book. If you've been trying to hope that Youngblood can come back, it's back again. I don't think it's as revolutionary, just the first one that made all the money. I mean, Frank Miller was independent, Byrne was independent. Before them, they had, there was that guy, the Sabra. There was a ton of independent characters, but Image is the one that really made it big. I mean, Neil Adams had his own company, but Image really made it big and really said, everyone, we can jump ship. And the only problem was that they were like, let's try to sink DC. I think I said it in one of our other ones. Let's try to sink DC now. We're like, well, let's hurt Marvel. We're not hurting Marvel. Let's sink DC. It's like, well, DC didn't do anything to you guys. They're like, no, we're going to try to sink them. We're trying to eat up all the orders. Oh, no, they killed Superman. So,
yep, that's over.
They're back. They changed the whole game when they killed Superman. Because they're like, Marvel's like, we don't have any guys we can kill that's going to amount to this?
No, this is what we're going to do. We're going to get Lee. Okay, and then we're going to make all these X-Men covers. Okay, that's pretty much the end of that. Yeah. Again, like I try to do, my analysis is really for the person as to whether or not you want to put some money on the book, if there's going to be some life towards it. I can't tell you to do that. Why? It's not any different than any of the other Youngblood books that I read, where it looks promising, but where's the core for this whole thing? And it's very easy to find the core in a book when the core in any book is what is the reason this character is doing any of these particular things. A murder mystery is going to be solved. A murder mystery, to be quite honest, is something that works better 4 or 5 issues in, after we've gotten the table set, we understand the characters. I don't really like when they kill off a character, but it could be to the point, okay, something else happens and now everyone's distrustful of them, and then that gets you to deepen characterization while at the same point turning some of that characterization on its ear. But starting off with the first issue, and these characters are pretty coreless to begin with. Their biggest thing is that 25 years ago, they had a first issue when Image decided to come out. That's where the anniversary stuff comes in. So, I couldn't advocate anybody, putting any money behind it. I did like the cover.
Well, one of the things that's weird and it's always been for Youngblood is that there's sort of, even though Liefeld's art was pretty bad, there was always promise of, is it going to become something? Because I paid my money to buy Youngblood 1 through whatever. I think I went as far as 10 when he came back, and it seemed like, oh, he's trying to do some things, and he looked at Top Cow stuff and was like, let me just turn this into Mark Silvestri's book. I need some death and dismemberment. So, so when you see like a character like Vogue that didn't get any sort of characterization and got some bogus stuff, it's like, oh, here's something, but that's not enough. It's for you old readers like me. It's not enough to say you should go. I'm gonna say this is a 2. If you want to see it, there's some okay scenes with Vogue. There's some all right. The art is fine. The writing is okay. Still, it is definitely, as you said, you can't really. You start with his character Man Up, and I don't care. And then they have a Bendis moment where you have the missing person and just puts a mask on. It's like, oh, that's Man. Like, no, there's no way. If I had a mask on and you just, I don't know. It doesn't. Maybe if I had a mask on, a picture of me, it would work. But in comics, that visual doesn't work. Where you take the human character and you put a mask on, it's like, oh, I can tell it's him. It's like, no, it's comics. You can't tell. It's not. As you won't see like the divots in someone's face. There's nothing there. There's nothing there to tell. So I'm giving it 2. What do you give it? 2 stars.
We're 2 for 2.
2 for 2. Okay. Solid 2s.
This is a 1 and a 2. 1 and a 2 right over here. It's a trifle. If you can get a copy, if somebody will let you read a copy, yeah, sure, go ahead.
We don't advocate that. If you're in the store, yes, I'm okay. If you page through, everyone pages through, but
yeah. But that's pretty much where the book is at, paging through.
Yeah. All right, thank you, everyone. We got 1 more left. We're coming at you strong. Come on, bring it home, guys. We need a good comic book.
Hopefully we'll get one. Thanks, Spinnerack. You saved me money.